Hello, everybody. Good Sunday morning. My name for a day, only for a day, Pastor Johnny Moe. Pastor sounds so fancy, Pastor Johnny Moe. I never thought about being a pastor. I had friends in Mississippi that were pastors, and they did a really good job. Especially my friend, Pastor Curtis Abram. Maybe he was a preacher, but I sure loved him. He was just a wonderful man. I met him in 1978 when I was looking for R.L. Burnside in Como, Mississippi. And the day after I had seen Mississippi Fred McDowell's wife, Esther May McDowell. I get confused with Esther May or Annie Mae. He was married to two different people, and I'm a little confused. I should check that out more. But anyway, I saw Mrs. McDowell, and the day before, and then I ran into, I stayed at a motel near Como in Sardis, Mississippi with my dog, and my dog Cindy, and the next morning there was these two guys talking, and they were big old LTDs, and at the time it was 78, so these cars were probably late 60s, early 70s, and they, were across from each other in their driver's seats, and I waited and waited a little bit, then I walked over and I said, "Do you know where I might be able to find Mr. R.L. Burnside?" And anyway, they talked a little bit among themselves a minute more, and then they talked to me, and then one guy had to leave, but then this man said, I might be able to take you to somebody that could tell you who he is, where to find him, and that turned out to be Curtis Abram. And at the time, I was 22, and Curtis was about 70, in his early 70s, I think, or mid 70s. But anyway, it's just really nice. And he took me over to, I stopped by his house with his granddaughter. He had a 3-year-old granddaughter with him. And I asked him if he wanted to have, I had ordered breakfast, before that. And I asked if he wanted to come in, but he couldn't come in. He didn't want to come in. And obviously I realized, he didn't want to, he didn't feel easy sitting with a white guy in the motel restaurant in Mississippi, even though this was after officially segregation was over. But his wife worked at the motel, and he didn't want to cause her any problems. But it was really pretty pathetic, that he couldn't have breakfast with me or a cup of coffee. And I should not have finished my breakfast. I should have forgotten, and I should have just left and not made Curtis wait. But I didn't know it would take an hour to get something simple as French toast and a cup of coffee and bacon. But obviously, they'd seen me talking to Curtis, and they didn't like that. And how pathetic is that, all about the color of somebody's skin. So anyway, the next day, or that day, he took me over to his house. I got a dust cover from my bearings, which were exposed, and one set had already burned up in Kansas. So anyway, I covered my wheel bearings with this dust cap. Curtis fell for me. And then he took me to Otha Turner's house, who then grabbed a sugarcane fife. We got to Otha's, and he wasn't around. He was in the restroom, and Curtis is yelling at Turner's name, and then he comes out of this not the restroom, outhouse, and in front of the outhouse is a mule hooked up to a wagon, a plow, just like you see in the old movies, man. This was in '78, but people were using plenty of tractors by then. But Curtis was, gasoline tractors, but Curtis was using the plow with a mule. And that's the way it was. And so anyway, he introduced me to Otha Turner, and Otha was using a mule with the plow. And so before that, when we'd stopped at Curtis's house, he gave me a big tall glass of cold water. It just tasted so good in the heat, And then there was a little pony there, and I was really skinny then. And I asked if I could try to ride it. It was really his granddaughter's pony, but I tried to get on it, but the thing kept bouncing away, and I finally got on it. It bucked me off, and then Curtis was having a great time laughing at that. This new white dude comes into his life 2 hours ago, and he's already laughing at me, Pretty funny. But anyway, so we got to, at Otha's house. Otha, Curtis explained my interest in blues to him, and then Otha went inside, and he brought out something that looked like a fife or a flute or something, and he said, "This here's a sugarcane fife," and he made it himself, sugarcane, and he played "My Babe," and the song goes. Let's see if I can remember. My babe don't stand no cheating now, my babe. My babe don't stand no cheating now, my babe. Well, my babe don't stand no cheating, don't stand no midnight creeping, my babe. Don't stand no cheating on my babe. So he played that for me, and it was really cool. I wish I could get higher on that. I need to work on my singing. Anyways, Otha sang. He sounded great. He played, sounded great. Just a wonderful song. Little Walter, used to do that song. A lot of people did it, but that's where I really knew it from. And let's see. Anyways, so that was it. I got to know them a little bit, and then and then 3 years later I got back there, and that's the time I met RL. That was in '81, and it was so cool. By then Curtis had become a preacher, and he and his wife Ann met me when I got back to Mississippi, and then I found RL one afternoon. That was September of '81, and then Rule invited me back to play at night with him after he was done working, and then I went and found Curtis, and we went and got Otha and another guy named R.C. Boyce, I think his name is, the guitar player. Anyways, that was in fall of '81, and so it was the next year I got to go see Curtis preach. I had to leave and go back to Oregon around then. But the next year I spent a summer with RL and his family, and I got to go hear Curtis preach. And I'll talk about that in another time. But it was my life around the Burnsides for 10 or 11 weeks when I spent the summer with them in 1982. But it's Sunday morning, and when Curtis became a preacher, he kind of warned me about playing blues. RL didn't think it was any big deal, but I don't know what this is. Let's see. Well, a few clogged notes, but I tell you, I don't ever remember uh, doing almost everything that I play. I hear wrong notes, And this is no exception, but anyway, it's too much to worry about. I'm not going to worry about that. But if I was going to just do this song without all the talks and stuff, I would listen to it, and then if I wanted to do, I would like take then 3 or 4 minutes of it. If I really wanted to make it just like one song on YouTube, and I'd do it again, or I'd edit. So I had cool stuff like that in there. I would take out, all the clogged note stuff, all that kind of stuff, But I'm not gonna worry about that for this video, because I just don't want to worry about it for this. I'll just send it out the way it is, and you guys get the picture. If you're playing a song and you want to put it up as an individual, if you're practicing on for YouTube and you're showing this is how you practice and this kind of stuff, and that's what this is really, that's cool, leave it, and explain that, But if you're proclaiming that, you're putting up a song and, it's really cool and you want people to hear it and appreciate it, I would advise to edit out the stuff like, but that's okay. Well, now all of a sudden the harmonica's working just fine, but a minute ago. Anyway, keep playing music no matter how old, how young you are. It's good for your head, good for your soul, good for your mind. I think it wards off dementia. It just makes you feel just good. And those of you out there that might hear this and don't play anything at all, even if you just pick up a harmonica at a store, or the cheapest one you can find, and just go like, just anything. It makes you feel good, just even doing that. But anyway, so I'll just do a little. Good Sunday morning, y'all.